Hello, May. Do you know what a camera is? Huh? Oh, freaking camera. Mom and Dad is going to buy a new one. Oh, come on, you were just being a little fuzzball. Oh, man, this camera is no good.
Guys,
Hello,
stay. Go. Good girl. Oh my goodness, her tummy feels really big.
Massaging your feet. Turn it off, Mom.
I'm featuring all May.
Sure.
I am. What you doing? Oh, I gotta get a new camera. This camera's no good, man. This is such a... Okay, people. So now it's like 4:30 in the morning or something like that. March 22nd, 2019. What brings me to this video today, people, is I'm on Facebook, right? Doing my own thing, whatever. And, you know, on your feed, right, you get these things that pop up that come out of nowhere. And it just happens to be one of my local city councilor page. And this person is asking what you think about Surrey. Well, I go on to tell this person, who is a woman, what I think about Surrey and what happened to Shimei. In a nutshell, she basically said, take it to Crime Stoppers in Vancouver. And I said, cops investigating cops isn't a solution. But what insulted me more than anything, she said, take it to the Vancouver Crime Stoppers to see if a crime was committed. Well, when you're dealing with organized crime equal to and parallel with the cartel, you know, or the mob, right? It's going to be very hard to see if there was a crime committed because it's so enrooted and so ingrained and so well protected and insulated because it's so corrupt and organized that you're never going to see anything, people. So the advice that this person gave me was mute. Didn't mean anything. Cops investigating cops isn't going to solve the problem. And just as they're going to cover up what happened to Shimei at the Surrey Memorial Hospital with her body, when it should have been in the forensic freaking department being autopsied on, not hooked up to machines so she could rot for 8 days. Eventually, I'm going to put the pictures up, people. I'm going to do a video around the pictures. My kids just don't want me to put them up on Facebook, on the feed. Because if I didn't feel confident about what I'm talking about, I wouldn't talk about it. But obviously, I'm talking into the wind. I didn't ask that woman's fucking thing to post to come onto my feed. And I told her right from the get-go, I'm going to tell you what I think of Surrey. And two things are going to happen. You're either going to become a targeted individual yourself, right? Because now you know. It's loose there. I'm trying to just hold it in place. And you're going to ignore it. And she chose to ignore it. Because she banned me. She banned me from her counselor page. Can you believe that? For telling the truth, people. For telling the truth and for standing my ground in terms of sending it to the Crime Stoppers in Vancouver is not an acceptable solution, considering with what we're dealing with here. And I have requested medical records and this is twice that the Surrey Memorial Hospital is denying me information. So I have to take to the Office of Information and Privacy Commission for BC. So I'm going to do this today, because I want whatever it is that they're keeping from me in Amari's file and Shimei's file, because this is related to Shimei. As they're putting in her medical files, people, and here's the thing. As they're putting in her medical files, I don't have money to buy a new camera, so we just have to fake the funk, right? Hold on. Anyway, we just have to go with what's available. As they're putting, anyway, as I was saying, as they're putting in my daughter's Shimei's, so people... Oh, this camera's just getting worse. I'm going to pull out the old X camera, my first one. The problem with that one is it takes very good visualization, but when you go to plug it in, you can't access the screen to push for it. It's oh. But I'm gonna have one here, this one, and I'm gonna see if I can access this one before I try and upload this one, because the other one doesn't flash. I just can't access the screen. It's very hard, and the more you try, the harder it gets, right? Because it's getting more and more broken like this one. So anyway, okay, the thing about all this privacy information crap, people, now they're withholding certain, they're withholding something, and then they've done it twice. So I'm going to request to see what these are, because in Shimei's medical files and in Amari's, they are listing that Shimei received no prenatal care. They, again, are painting Shimei to be irresponsible and an idiot who was a closet drug addict who deserved to die because she should have known better not to do cocaine at 8 o'clock in the morning. By them listing in her medical files and in Amari's medical files that she received no prenatal care makes her look extremely irresponsible. Now you have to remember, Amari has cerebral palsy, and we don't know how he got it, people, but I can tell you one thing. From what I've been looking at so far through my travels, Amari had it either at birth, he got it while in the birthing process, or he had it before birth while in her stomach. So, in the event that Amari falls in that 10% category where it was actually the hospital's fault, through my research, they've narrowed it down to 10%, where the other 90%, they're really not too sure how he got it outside of probably in the stomach. And this is before and at birth, not after birth, but before and then at the time of birth. When Amari was born, I can point out certain things on certain videos that I have to definitely show that Amari had symptoms of brain damage as they were cleaning him up after they took him out of Shimei's stomach. But the thing is, they have Shimei listed as having absolutely no prenatal care. So Shimei went 9 months without seeing a doctor, basically, without getting any blood tests, without having any ultrasounds, without having any prenatal vitamins or anything. That's how Fraser Health Authority staff has listed Shimei down in Amari's file and her file. But yet they are withholding information from me, people. How does that work? How is it that they can falsify their records for whatever fucking reason that they want to falsify? Because they're definitely falsifying them. Okay? And then turn around and withhold information from you, the parent, a year after your daughter has died, under suspicious circumstances. I wanted to say murder, but I'll just say under suspicious circumstances that have yet to be ruled out, because there never was a proper investigation, as everyone's going hush, 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 hush. But in the meantime, the medical files are being altered. That's like when Shimei went in and had the baby and they listed her as Punjabi. They have Shimei listed as Punjabi. And throughout all her medical files, when it relates to Amari, and at that time of birth, they've got her listed down as having no prenatal care. And I'm thinking, well, why would they do that? Because if for some reason Amari got injured through the negligence of Fraser Health Authority and their staff, because it wouldn't be uncommon, people, not in my family anyway, and this is what this counselor doesn't realize, and I called her on it, one of two choices, right? You're either going to hang in there like a dirty fucking shirt and become targeted yourself, because you want to speak the truth as to what's going on. You want to find out the fucking truth, and you want the people that causes trauma in your community to go to jail. It doesn't matter if they're cops or not, because the cops are involved, people. Okay? The investigation that they did for Shimei was shoddy. You can't even consider it to be an investigation. It was just something put down on paper to shut me up. That's all it was. Well, Fraser Health Authority and your staff are still running around playing the same old game to cover their tracks, so that in the event that Amari actually got injured at the time of birth, due to the negligence of Fraser Health Authority staff, they simply have to go into Shimei's medical files and say, oh, no, right here it says she had no prenatal care for the 9 months that she was pregnant. That's the problem. It wasn't us. Where was Shimei? Oh, over here it says she died of cocaine and fentanyl. So we know what Shimei was doing for 9 months, right? Because it says right here that she admitted to doing drugs before March of 2017. So therefore, do you see? That's how they do it. Right? That's how they do it. They're listing her as being an irresponsible pregnant woman that got no prenatal care, so that in the event, if I should ever come back and fight for Amari and say that Fraser Health Authority staff had a hand in his demise, they can simply go back into Shimei's files, and then when they really want to stick it to me, they can bring out the fucking big guns, these files that they're withholding from me, as proof to their falsified files. In terms of, well, it says right here, she's Punjabi. She's Punjabi. It must be true. You were in denial when she was born, Miss Johnny. You were fucking a Punjabi. You just didn't know it. Says right here. That's like that cop coming to me and saying, oh, well, where's Shimei? Oh, you got her medical. Oh, okay, here, let me look in her medical files. This guy, he wasn't even looking. The Shimei's medical files are this thick. The cop came here, and he said, oh, well, it's done. We're not investigating it anymore. And I'm like, why? And he goes, oh, well, I looked in her medical. And I said, well, hold on. I got her medical files. You show me what you looked at. He pulls out one piece of paper from 2010 or whatever the fuck it was. This when she was with her friend Alana, her native friend that was causing all this trouble, and Shimei was reacting, trying to save Alana, and then was acting out. She was just a teenager, like 14 or something like that. I don't know how old she was. But anyway, you know, and then he pulls out another one when they took Andre in 2013. And then 2 months later, Shimei passed out at work from all the freaking stress because she was working at McDonald's. And then they rushed her off to the hospital because they didn't want, you know, she passed out at work. Right? From the stress of Andre. You know? And they just said, oh, she was suicidal. She killed herself. I looked at that cop, people. I said, you gotta be kidding me. You're pulling out a fucking not even a half page to that much paragraphs telling me just because something happened way back in the day when she was a kid under duress because of basically you people, the public union sector, all those social workers, right? Out for blood, had to fill in their year-end quota with Andre by any means necessary. Destroyed a whole family for years. And then he walks out the door, and then Tisha comes home. I tell Tisha goes, oh, no, that's not true. She didn't kill herself. I want to speak to that cop. So she phones him up, and then he goes, oh no, that's not what I was saying. That's not what I meant. It was an accident. So Tisha gets off the phone, comes to me, and says, oh, he said it was an accident. He didn't mean suicide. It was just an accident. That's what the fucking coroner is saying to me. It was an accident. They rubber stamp people in my past videos. It's still rubber stamping. And this city councilor wants to rubber stamp right along with them. She only wants to hear about the prosperous elite in this community. She doesn't want to hear about the ones that are being preyed upon so that the elite can exist. Who the hell do you think got my daughter's heart valve? It was an elite person. Doesn't matter if it was some judge sitting up in some fucking courthouse or some university professor. You know, a white boy is a white boy. Or if it was some rich fucking Punjabi living up in some fucking monster home and just wasn't ready to die yet. They're all the same. And it's not like I can pick up and move out of this fucking corrupt city. It was bad enough when I wasn't held to live in Surrey by the courts. But now with Amari, I'm expected to live in Surrey for the rest of my fucking life, right? As my family is being picked off one by one, just so that the daddy can have parenting time. Well, everybody's running around saying Shimei never went to a prenatal class, not even once in her fucking 9 months of pregnancy, and therefore the hospital is not responsible for anything that happened to Amari if it should ever get to that level. Right? It happened because Shimei didn't get no prenatal care, which is a bunch of fucking crock. As they list her down as a Punjabi. So anyway, I don't even know. I said to little Leia May, as a matter of fact, I got a little Leia May laying on the couch till she was doing my feet. Everything is so sore. I don't know what it's going to be like this year. Out in the yard on my feet all day. I got to go to Workman's Warehouse and go buy a good pair of boots. Because I want to get a lot of stuff done out there this year. That's assuming that the city doesn't start fucking harassing me again because I brought to the attention to the city councilor that we have some serious fucking problems going on out here in terms of organized crime. And I don't think Crime Stoppers is the solution to stop it. And that's the point of this video. Because I'm not going to be afraid to fucking put my neck out there and speak the truth. I'm not going to hide behind some some band of people that want to sit up there and purport that they represent the fucking constituents of City of Surrey, when in fact that is in part only not even half true. It's not even half true. You got to have a certain amount of income in order before these councillors will represent you and your family. Right? It's pretty apparent. Why ask a question if you can't handle the answer? You know, you think deleting the answer from your page is going to solve the problem. It's not going to solve anything. All it does is allow more people to be murdered in their own homes so that the freaking paramedics, the police, and the fire department can come in there and fucking pronounce the person alive so they can rush them off to the hospital, take what they want out of their bodies, then embalm them, and then put them on displays for everybody to see, and then just lie, so that you can milk the taxpayers of their money to keep those machines fucking running and those people employed. Like, it's some really sick shit going on, people. And it's really unfortunate that Shimei has to be the one to show the way. Right? Just as the provincial government is using... I'm going to end it on this note because I don't want to rant on to about this too much. But just as the provincial, just as the provincial government, if you notice, I didn't include the city councillor. I said provincial government, but it's a trickle-down effect. Because what benefits the provincial government benefits all the municipalities, benefits the police department, benefits the fire department, benefits everything is connected to the government, right? So the provincial government, right? Just as they benefit with having people fall off the welfare rolls at, within 3 years, 800 people, they save $78 million on the shy. $78 million within 3 years, people, if they kick off 800 people a year off of welfare. You do the fucking math. And that's just the welfare recipients. Okay? That's just with their welfare check and their housing. Does not include any freaking, what is it called? Health care. Assuming that they can get health care. And at what cost to the taxpayers? But now... So people are being murdered off. It's not just Shimei. Okay? There is no accident, and it is not no suicide. Alright? Just as they're being murdered off, en masse, in the province, in the country, in our neighboring countries, okay, to save the government millions and billions of dollars in terms of welfare payments and that type of thing. People are being murdered for their bodies like Shimei that are pristine and salvageable. It's not just a one-sided game anymore. Because people treat this like a game. Right? And at first it was okay. Because it was just the junkies that were being knocked off the welfare rolls and saving the government millions of dollars compound year after year after year. As they bring in an influx of racist freaking immigrants that are bringing genocide to this country. Because at the end of the day, they don't need us. They need them. Right? Because if you notice, when they come, they all start to flock together. They have their churches over here, their temples over here, their synagogues and mosaics, whatever those things are called, over there. But very rarely do they actually assimilate into society and participate. Okay? Because they're all on a mission to help their own kind. As the Canadian-born people, such as my family, are the supplement to their incomes, whether it's hooking up dead bodies in a freaking public healthcare system after it's been pillaged and had body parts sold on the black market to facilitate somebody else's lifestyle over there. Right? And they don't want to hear that, people. They don't want to hear that stuff. But just as the provincial government is allowing the ongoing onslaught of freaking murder and mayhem against the poorest of the poor in the province of British Columbia, Canada, when it comes to fentanyl deaths, by blaming each and every individual as either it was a suicide or it was an accident, nothing new here, let's move on. Well, that same premise, that same ideology, that same permission has now crossed over the line and has started to reach into homes where people like Shimei, beautiful young 22-year-old smart, have their whole life ahead of them and they got clean, healthy bodies. Now they're being murdered because those are the bodies that they can take out organs, whether illegally or legally. 1 in 5 of every organ donation in British Columbia, Canada comes from somebody that has had fentanyl in their system, including other drugs. 1 in 5. Shimei is not actually 1 in 6. She's 2 out of 5. The only thing is with Shimei, it wasn't documented because the criminals in this community that have organized crime understand how to play the fucking system because they're the ones with all the fucking resources. You don't take out organs in a butcher shop. Bodies aren't being picked up in wagons that say corpse delivery. Corpse services or whatever it is. Like the good old days, as Uncle John would say. So now they got me running around looking for files as they falsify fucking files. And this woman wants to put her nose in the ground. Bury it. Pretend like it doesn't exist. Because that's what she was not elected for. She was not elected. She was not elected for that, people. Take on crime. Real crime. Real crime. Not this petty shit that goes on out in the streets, but real fucking organized crime. She's not interested in that. That's too real. She doesn't want to become a targeted individual. Because her kids are protected. They're protected in her home. Right? Or wherever they go. Right? So, people are being targeted. The poor people are being targeted. Murdered off. One way or another with this fentanyl. With the excuse it was either an accident or it was suicide. Where now it's crossed over into the one class up. Right? And again, Shimei deserved what she got. That was the message that the hospital staff were portraying. That's what the message that the cops were saying. Right? Well, she should have known better, blah, right? She did it to herself, right? First it was suicide, then it was an accident, and now they're not saying shit. Nobody's saying shit. Watching my videos, though. Nobody is safe in this province. Nope, because they're not satisfied with just saving $78 million every 3 years compound with another 800 people die and another 800. And this is just the welfare rolls. 1,500 people died. 1,500 people died in British Columbia, Canada due to fentanyl-related deaths in 2018. 1,500. But we're just writing it off at 800 of those were on welfare. Since every time you turn on the news, all you ever see is these guys up in the freaking Skid Row area always dealing with the fucking junkies so that it gets the public angry and it fools them to think that, oh, it's just the junkies that are dying off. Who cares? Yeah, well, it's crossed that line now, people. Now it's into the young people. young people, to that ones that the organs can be taken out of, whether legally, that 1 in 5, or illegally, that 2 in 5. At the taxpayer's expense. That's what the taxpayers paid for, while somebody else pocketed free money on the black market to sell my daughter's heart valves. They couldn't take the heart because she had been dead for an hour and a half. But again, like I said, when you're rolling with $500,000, if you can still get $250,000 out of it, you can spread that around and keep a lot of people happy in town now, can't you? But at what expense? At the expense of the targeted family. And if people want to sit up there and convince themselves that my family is the only family in all of British Columbia, Canada, all across fucking Canada, and all across the United States of America is the only family that's being targeted due to this stuff, good luck. Good luck. You know, working on the nonprofit, you give people happy, they like you, they take. But when it comes on hard times and you can't give, you know, people fall off onto the wayside, they forget that what you gave to them, right? And, or they expect more, and if you don't give to them, they don't want to talk to you no more, whatever it is. Well, these people at city council that sit all high and mighty thinking that, you know, oh, well, you know, there's going to come a day where you're going to be in a position where you won't be able to give, and you'll want people to help you, and then they'll look at you and they'll say, well, but you're not giving to me anymore, so why the fuck should I help you anymore? I never helped you before because you were giving to me, and now that you're really not giving to me, I'm not going to help you at all, because that's not why I was sticking around for. I was just around for you to give me things. One day they're going to want something. They're going to need something. They're going to need some fucking help, and there's not going to be nobody there to fucking help them. That's what I'm trying to say. Right? Anyway, people, I'm just filing a lawsuit. I don't trust the cops. I sit here, you know, I grew up respecting cops. I grew up in a different time. I grew up in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. You know, I used to see cops walk with the parades, with the horses and stuff as a little girl, and it was a very amazing thing, right? And I grew up respecting cops, and I have a really hard time, you know, even thinking about some of the things that I think about with cops these days, right? You know, as in terms of the white devil, you know, because they're white devils. But then I say, yeah, but then you got brown devils too, so it can't be just the white devil. It's got to be the brown devil in there as well, right? People are devils. They act like fucking devils. To do what they did to my daughter's body and then try and fucking cover it up on multiple layers is the actions of a devil. And it's a food chain. That's not necessarily race specific. Although there are leaders in the pack. And the way it's looking right now is that cops are the fucking leaders in the pack. Because they don't take serious what happened to my daughter. They want to play politics with my daughter by sitting up there and saying, well, we don't have enough funding to fully investigate. So why should we? Everybody else says it was an accident or it was a suicide. So we just go with the flow because that's the propaganda that we put out in community, because it saves us a lot of money. You know, millions and millions of dollars with the provincial government, and now we found a way to tap into those extra dollars under the table through people like your daughter that nobody fucking cares about, including us. Right? So I say to my little granddaughter, you know, it would be nice if Nana could live 42 years, because I'm like 58 right now, people. Keep an eye on her, right? But I don't know if I can live for another 42 years. That's an awful long time when you already don't feel very well and your family is being picked off one by one. And then you have to decide, well, do you want to stay quiet about it and just watch it happen? Or do you want to get vocal about it, put it out there and warn other people? Because if it's going to happen, it's going to happen one way or another. And like I said in my previous videos, if I'm going to be in hell, at least I'm going to be in fucking hell with a sword in one hand and something else in my other hand, and I'm going to fight my way through it.